Okay, hi. I am back. You might hear me echo because I'm actually checking for sound check. I've been so paranoid with Streamlabs because there would be times where I have issues that my audio won't work, or maybe my what's the word for it? So either my audio won't work or the recording has stopped altogether. So my biggest concern and fear is that the stream is working, but the audio is not going through. So if that happens, that sucks. There's also been a scenario where both my video, like my recording as a whole, is just gone. It wasn't even saved. So I don't know what's going on with Streamlabs. It's making me feel major anxiety. So I constantly have to check that everything's working, and I have to make sure that the audio's working. Making me feel... There you go. So you can hear myself echo there. But yeah. I'm doing that just to check that the audio's working. It looks like my phone might be lagging in terms of the video. I don't know, but yeah, hopefully it works. I'm also double checking every once in a while. And hopefully the mic doesn't pick up my echo, so we should be good. Alright, so sorry I had to make another opening video because, yeah, just checking everything on Streamlabs. I have to use my tablet, I use my phone, etc. But yeah, I did a lot of setting up to do in the background, but eventually in today's session, I'm hoping that we will get through with my French Elementary 1 beginner all over again. Yeah, but first let's just go straight into the activity because this is more for me and my practice, and it's more for my benefit and trying to get myself into learning this language again. So let's go ahead and just get started. What you're seeing right now on my screen is basically my Canva, and I designed my own personal language learner profile. I don't think there's been an official study or activity or worksheet on this, so I created this from scratch, and I hope I can just claim this whole idea. I don't know if it's mine, but I think what's important when it comes to becoming a language learner is that first you must know what kind of language learner you are, because there's so many videos on YouTube where people say, oh, you can learn a language fast, and it's only fast if it's pertaining to your interest and your language level. So that's the only reason for that. Also, let me go ahead and close this so I can fix that. Yes, there you go. Yeah. So that being said, we're gonna be working on that. You might notice there's another angle here. So this is my hand. You can see my camera's up here. It's waving high up there. So you can actually see me getting some work done. I thought it'd be cool since this is a Pomodoro study session and yeah, whatnot. You're gonna see a lot of stuff. I'm gonna do some ASMR stuff, and you're gonna see me light up a candle or two here because this is how I get into the groove of things. But before we worry about any of this, let's first focus on this main screen right here. So here we are on my language learner profile. So again, I designed all of this. I know some people may not be fond of the color or the creativity behind it. It might be distracting, but since I'm a very creative learner, I need to see all of these creativity and all of this stuff to stimulate my attention. Because if I see things that are kind of too bland, I get easily sidetracked and I just stare off into space. So seeing all of these creativity in the background that I designed, it helps me feel more engrossed into what I'm learning. Yeah. So what we're looking at is basically a language learner profile that I designed. Again, sorry for repeating myself. And I used this before. Initially, I used it for Spanish, so that's why the text here says I am a multi-language learner. I have learned a total of 7 languages, but lack the experience and production skills speaking and writing in my target language. The target language that I will be focusing on is Spanish, but for today's stream, let's focus on French. Okay. And then I just posted a picture of myself from a couple months ago. Okay, so I added a little part here, like experience, because I want to think about when was the first time I was introduced to the language and what purpose do I have with it. So, my first experience with Spanish, we're gonna change this to French, took place in California. So, I believe the year I was introduced to it was probably in 2000, it was one semester, so I think it was 2016 or 2017. I believe it might have been my last semester, so I'm gonna guess it's definitely 2017, before I graduated. So I studied Spanish in Lexington Junior High School, then I continued studying Spanish up until my junior in Cypress High. So with my first experience, I studied French in Cypress College. I had taken the class because I was feeling FOMO for not taking French during high school. I'm just gonna say high school. So, what am I doing, caps? Okay. So, in my high school, they offered Spanish and French because they were the most popular languages in California, and I only had to choose between one of them. Because I was already committed to Spanish and I had reached level 3 at the time, I could have went to level 4 and became AP Spanish, but I didn't want to push myself. I already did 4 years starting from elementary school. I think it was like pre-Spanish or something. But yeah, I made it up all the way there. Or was it Spanish 1, 2, 3, 4? Maybe I reached 4. I can't even remember. It's been so long. But I do know I've studied it for 4 years. And I didn't pursue French for my senior year because I wanted the time off from school. I wanted to leave school early. So yeah, that's what I did. Let's revisiting studio. Did I speak French anytime after that? No, unfortunately not. I think another reason why I was so interested in it, I think it took place in 2014. Actually, yeah, let's move that. So we're gonna change this 2017 to here. And it's in California, and I'm gonna change this to Cypress College. What I'm gonna do is copy paste it here. So my first, now it's making me think, sorry, it's like 3 in the morning, 3:36 in the morning, and sometimes my brain is slow, but it's okay, I'll deal with it. Alright, so I studied, I'm gonna change this. So my first experience with French was actually in 2014, I believe. I think. I actually have to pause for a second because it was because of Miraculous Ladybug. That is why. So I need to remember the dates. When did Miraculous first come out? There you go. December 2015. I think they originally released it in South Korea, so that was the first time I watched it in South Korean. Then I watched the French version, and then I watched English. So it aired in France and South Korea in 2015. So my first exposure was not 2014 but 2015. I was introduced to, or like my interest in French was triggered by Miraculous Ladybug. When it had first gone live in September 2015 in the Korean and French dubs. Yeah. So that was my first exposure to it. There we go. I remember this because at the time I used to write a lot of fanfiction for like Teen Titans back in the day, and also I think I was in the Jalsa fandom at the time, so my friend knew my interest in like ships, and one of my friends was like, Hana, you have to watch Miraculous Ladybug. I think you would like it. So I watched it, and I actually liked it. It really gave childhood feels that reminded me of like Sailor Moon vibes. So watching that kind of stuff was it was refreshing, but also it was just nostalgic at the same time. I was very invested, and then my interest in French grew. And then in 2017, I had a class. Actually, in my last semester, I was missing a couple units, so I thought to myself, you know what, I'm gonna take French. And I remember French was like a 5-unit class, which made my life much easier because it's considered a difficult course in the community college at the time, I guess. I mean, the subject itself is not difficult, but learning a language is deemed as a heavy unit class. So hence, that's why I picked up French in Cypress College. And it was only elementary 1. I didn't pursue elementary 2, so shame on me. Technically, I would have been considered a beginner level, but I just stayed with elementary 1 because that's in college. You don't. Let me see. Sorry, it's tired. In college, you don't attend a beginner course. You attend elementary, so it's very fast-paced. That's why it's considered an elementary course. So that means you have prior exposure. But when I attended the class, I had no exposure, or I didn't have any beginner training for French. So elementary 1 was basically an amalgamation of elementary 1 and beginner class. So it was like really fast paced, but I loved it. It was great. Never forgot my teacher. I forgot her name, but I remember she was like a Filipino American that moved to France, and she married a French husband, I believe. And she just loved the French language, and I'm like thinking, oh, she's an inspiration. So yeah, there's that. All right, so moving on from my experience, we're looking at methods I liked. Okay, so we have speaking, listening, writing, and reading. These are the 4 language types. General rule of thumb, in every single language that you'll learn, you have to reflect about methods that you liked. And basically, I'm just thinking about what worked for me in French. So methods I liked were talking to a friend, and I do have French friends that I can ask for help from time to time. Pronunciation apps, I do love trying to stay, well, not stay, there's something about me that really wants to be as authentic as possible, so picking up the pronunciation to the best of my abilities is like, it's both an achieving feeling, but also it's also super frustrating for me, because that's the perfectionism in me comes out when it comes to pronunciation, because I want to be as perfect as possible. And you're not expected to have perfect pronunciation. A lot of people say that the fact that you put effort and try to speak the language at all is already an achievement and quite admirable. But to pick up the pronunciation is just, it's just a flex. It's extra stuff, but it's not expected, but for me personally, my perfectionism comes up. Sorry, I can't even talk. My perfectionism comes out when it comes to language learning, so pronunciation is something I get super anal about, so there's that. Reading words aloud, so these are think alouds, which is basically what I'm doing. Oh, sorry. I'm doing a think aloud, which is processing what I wrote and saying it out loud. But if it comes to reading words aloud, that's just like reading. I just like to read things aloud because, again, my brain needs to be stimulated. Now that I am an adult with ADHD, I realize that if I'm not doing something that keeps me engaged to whatever I'm doing, I easily get sidetracked, etc. Listening, videos, music, the radio, conversations. I should also include podcasts. So podcasts, and then also movies. So media. Actually, videos are already up there, so it can be videos, films, etc. But I also write something else here. Oh yeah, vlogs, why not? So I know these are my interests. I also love listening to music. Did I say the radio? Do I listen to the radio in French? I don't think so. So I would say music is just a strong factor for me. Listening on conversations, of course, would be great, and also listening to podcasts are wonderful for me. I realize I'm an auditory learner as well, so when it comes to studying, or like my how do I rephrase this? When it comes to my studying skills, I'm a mix of all of them. I kind of see myself as someone who really likes to who's really flexible to learn in whatever manner, but I think of the learning styles, I think I'm more of a kinesthetic learner. So kinesthetic means like I have to move around or apply what I'm learning to something that I can move, or I don't know, do gesticulations or something like that. It sticks with me faster because I feel like there's purpose if I can use it. But of course, watching videos which are like auditory or not auditory, visual. Watching videos is visual learning, auditory for listening. I'm a mixture of the three for the most part, so if I can trigger all three, I'm super engaged with what I'm learning. So yeah. Writing, stories, journals, texting messages. I think that's just a general rule of thumb for me. It's like, of course, at some point I would love to write stories in another language, but I'll never be native to that level within this, within a year or two, maybe. I think I might need more. Who knows? Maybe there might even be a miracle where I can actually pull it off in like 2 years or 2 or 3 years or something. I don't know. Who knows? Writing in my journal would be fun, actually, too, because I do write in my journals regarding my thoughts and feelings, and I want to get to that point when I write in French and in other languages in general, too. Texting messages, I think this would be cool to understand the texting slang, because in English we also have our own texting slang that that doesn't follow the grammar, and it's the same. It's also similar to the idea of like communicating, where there's formal speech versus slang speech, where it also doesn't respect the grammar rules. So there's that. So yeah, I think it'd be really cool if I can pick up the slang way and make it more of an authentic experience for myself. And again, I have friends who I can ask for advice on that. So yeah. Reading research papers, any fictional stories, text messages, and song lyrics. Research papers, man, that would be far, maybe after I reach advanced level, I'd probably be reading research papers at that moment, because again, the more formal it is, the more higher level the vocabulary will be. So research papers will definitely be a long-term goal far into maybe a year and a half, or 2 years or 3 years. So one of these days I'll hopefully get there. Any fictional stories, of course, reading anything that's of my interest will trigger my interest. So I don't know why I just said that twice. That's just how my brain is right now. But yeah, fictional stories are great. Whether it is like fan fiction, any young adult fiction story, any genre like romance, comedy, suspense, horror, whatever. Just anything that'll stimulate my attention and be able to recognize this stuff. Next, text messages. Again, that's hand-to-hand with writing. Being able to read it and understand it is already a great achievement, but of course, producing the languages like speaking and writing is a whole other ballpark. So I'm really good, as far as I know in my past, I'm really good with my listening and reading skills, which are my passive, quote-unquote passive skills. But yeah, I'm very lacking in my speaking and writing skills in all the languages that I've learned. and of course song lyrics. So it'd be great if I could understand the messages in songs that I listen to. So yeah, music is very, very strong in me. It influences my interest very strongly. So another thing that I've learned is that when it comes to music, I can actually pick up on reading and understand. I could kind of understand the language. I can kind of familiarize the words and connect it to what I know what it means, and I can also pick up pronouncing the words as accurate as possible, because I don't know, but I did that when I sang a Japanese song for my I don't know what to call it. It was like a mini anime convention, but it was like an anime celebration. And yeah, I just surprised myself that I was able to memorize the lyrics to a Japanese song, and I didn't even know what each word meant per se, but I knew the overall message because I read through the song lyric translation, so I knew the message and whatnot. But yeah, at some point I hope that I don't have to rely on translations where I can understand the song lyric. Alright, so purpose section. We are here. What is your purpose for learning French? So, my purpose for learning French is... I hope I can speak French when I travel to France. So one of my bucket list, or actually my plan was after graduating from university, was I plan to take a trip to France with my best friends as a graduation celebration for myself. But that didn't happen this year, unfortunately. So I still plan to go with my besties, but until then, I hope that I will reach a level of fluency where I'm able to at least communicate my needs and directions and ask questions, etc. So I hope I can speak French when I travel to France. Let's see, making new friends, of course, making new friends. Friends who can speak French. What is my other purpose? I want to apply my ability to speak French to my professional work. So it'd be really cool if I knew French really well. I could speak, but at the same time, I can also use my knowledge of French and help become the bridge for language acquisition. I think that's another one. So I want to become a bridge for French learners who wish to learn the English language, assuming that they don't know English. But as far as I've learned, English has become a mandatory subject in France, I believe, so I don't really think they need it as much, but who knows, really. So it can be the English language or other languages that I've learned. Okay, so these are my purpose so far. Can I think of anything else? Oh yeah, I want to sing. I want to be able to sing in French. That would be nice. Yeah, I realized now that I am an Argentine tango dancer, there are some French music that do show up in Argentine tango, and French songs also appear in West Coast swing, so I remember those nights when they played it, I'm like, oh my god, I should learn French. It's just a trigger for me. Every time I hear French music, I'm like, oh my god, I need to learn it. And another one, I want to be able to understand French when I watch. Of course, the reason why I got into this in the first place, Miraculous Ladybug. I think I will definitely be referencing Miraculous Ladybug a lot when I'm studying the language for French, because I really want to make sure that I'm familiar with, or like what I'm learning is actually working for me. So I do plan to live stream while watching the video, but when I make the final cut, because eventually I'm gonna come back and just cut the videos. Yeah, it'll probably be a reaction or like, I'm not sure. So I'm just debating if I should be live streaming and showing the show. There is a website for it that everyone uses to watch all of the releases, and the team who made it is just fantastic. But yeah, I want to try and be able to recognize the words and what I learned and apply what I know so far. So yeah, it comes back into full circle. So if I get to that point, it'll be an amazing achievement for myself. So yeah, that's my goal in life. All right. Long-term goals. So my long-term goal is, my first long-term goal is I want to study at least 15 to 60 minutes. I'm gonna say 90 minutes for me. 15 to 90 minutes of French per day. I'm not gonna say per day. At least 3 out of 7. 3 days out of... Okay. 3/7 of the week. Yep. I'm trying to be realistic here because in the past I've tried learning a language every single day and that hasn't really worked out for me. And of course, I've learned 7 languages in the past, so coming back to get to those levels of where I used to be, or exceeding those levels where I was as well, is going to be very challenging for me. So I have to be very realistic on my expectations. So there might even be where I only learn French maybe once or twice a week. So it just really depends on how it looks. But my goal is I'm gonna at least try to push for 3. And of course the maximum is so 3 to 5 days per week. There you go. I'm just gonna change to that. So 3 minimum, 5 maximum. If I exceed it, that'd be great. But realistically, I don't think it's gonna happen. Also, to keep in note, I will be learning other languages at the same time. And I will go into another video on that in the future, discussing what languages I will pick up, and yeah. But that's my plan. Goal number 2, I want to practice speaking conversational French with... I wrote, these are my friends who knew Spanish, so I know this one is Jew. I know I have a couple more friends, but I know so far it's Jew that I speak to the most. But she's my online friend that I met in the Spy Family Discord group. So yeah, it's been great that I get to practice writing in French with her every once in a blue moon, but I hope at some point I'll be able to speak in conversational French. Maybe she'll give me pointers. Next, I want to be able to translate English to Spanish much more quickly in my head before I say it. Yes, I'm gonna keep that. Yeah. And then number 4, I want to sing in French without spending an entire month dedicated to learning it. So in my previous experience, whenever I learn a new song in a language that I don't know, or in a language that I'm not familiar with, whether it is pronunciation or grammar, etc., something I've learned about myself is that it takes me at least a month to be able to perform the song in that language. So at some point I want to be able to sing French like within a week or 2. When I'm singing English songs, it takes me at least 1 or 2 weeks to master it because I'm first getting used to it. Second, getting to a point where I feel comfortable enough to take off and make the song my own and personalize it the way I want it to be sung. So yeah, it takes me up to 2 weeks to own a song, quote unquote, own it. So yeah, I want to bring French to that level where I can own it in like 2 weeks. But yeah, that's something I've want to do. Another long-term goal? Let's see, what did I want to do? I want to write in French. Whenever I code switch. Yeah. To the language. So I want to write or speak in French whenever I code switch to the language. Yes, that's it. Yeah, I want to get to a point where I don't have to think. Like, there are moments where if people tell me can you say this in French, I actually have to sit down and think. I'm waiting for the switch to go up in my head so I can think in French and speak in French. So it takes some processing. So yeah, it's been a long time since I've done that. I don't remember my French that well, so here's to that. Alright, another section here for the reflection part. Good experiences learning, and I wrote English then, so this is gonna be French. So what were my good experiences? Let's see if I remember. I think... watching Miraculous Ladybug. Played a huge role. Also, let me unlock that. Watching Miraculous Ladybug. Played a significant role in my interest for acquiring the French language and being able to produce the language via speaking and writing. So I don't want to be just a passive learner. I want to be very productive, and again, productive skills are much harder because it requires a lot of time. I say that because of my Spanish. Even though I've learned 4 years of Spanish, producing my responses take a while. There are moments where the words I'm looking for just like blank out. I can't even remember the specific word that I'm looking for, and then it comes back the next day because I've been thinking about it for the whole night. And then yeah, the word that I'm looking for shows up usually like the next day for me. And it's such a long time lag. It's ridiculous. So there's that. Watching Miraculous Ladybug played a significant role in my interest for acquiring the French language and being able to produce the language via speaking and writing. What else? What is it? Were there any other French? I think the film festival was one too. Being able to... a French film festival was a fun experience. I think I remember, I think I watched a movie called The Chef, and it was fun because my French classmates and I that attended the event, we were able to understand, I would say maybe 60% of the dialogue that went on, but they also provided subtitles for us if we were unable to catch it. So yeah, I think going to a French festival was also a great what is it called? I was gonna say initiator, but it's also a really good reference, catalyst. I don't think those are the words I'm looking for, but yeah, I'll just type it in the edit videos in the future if it ever comes up in my head, because I just cannot think right now. But yeah, it was a fun experience, and being able to understand 60% of the dialogue from the film, despite being provided subtitles, was an eye-opening experience for me. So I really enjoyed that. My teacher was also, my professor was also a great inspiration for my motivation to learn English because she was also a film like me. And I was inspired to learn French. What's another example? I remember one time I was, when I was dating my ex, I remember I was falling asleep. And I spoke to him saying the R sound, because I had the hardest time trying to pronounce the freaking R sound, because it sounds like like I'm just overdoing it. I'm probably not doing it correctly, but as far as I know, it's like a gargle in your throat and sounds like an H. And it's just hard for me to produce that sound. And one time I just fell asleep and I was like half asleep and I was like, and I woke up for a moment. I was like, oh my god, I can do the R sound in French, and then I fell asleep again. It was haunting me in my sleep, guys. It was that bad. So good experiences learning French. I guess being able to pronounce difficult sounds. Yeah, being able to pronounce difficult sounds is such a satisfying experience. And let's see. I also really like the computer labs. I mean, at the time, as far as I remember, my teacher assigned my classmates and I to go to the computer lab and listen to French audios. And I remember that was such a fun experience for me because I was able to listen over and over again and like attune my ears to it. So I guess listening activities helped with picking up pronunciations faster. And being able to the gendered words. So, French is a gendered language. You have le and la, as far as I know. So le for masculine and la for feminine. It's similar to Spanish, where it's el for Spanish and la for feminine words. So in French, it's hard to find the gendered words because you have to pay very close attention to the pronunciation, and that can distinguish the gendered words. And also recognizing which vocabulary is masculine. Sorry, I can't even speak. And recognizing which vocabulary had a masculine or feminine word for it. It could be difficult. And sometimes they don't even say those hints in the vocabulary where it's masculine or feminine, and it's based on the context clue or the situation or the conversation where it's taking place in that environment. Like, I can say, what is it? I forgot. I forgot être. How do être? Être. Conjugations. Je suis, yes. For example, if you say je suis American. I can't even say it. I'm trying to say I am American, right? So it's je suis American or something. I'm gonna go back and rewatch that, like a video in the future, and like focus on that R sound, because the R sound is really what's killing me as a learner. Je suis American. I think there might be a specific pronunciation to that between masculine and feminine, but I totally forgot. We are gonna come back to that eventually, so we'll explore it there. But yeah, sometimes when you're trying to say like I am this, when you say I am, sometimes they don't say what it is for the gendered word, and what happens is the context is the focus. It's more about, am I talking to someone who identifies more feminine or someone who identifies more masculine? And that's just a whole other ballpark of language, of gendered languages. And yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, moving on. So bad experience is learning English. So not English, we're gonna go with French. Because the default when I created this was for my English streams and teaching that to you guys. So yeah, it's just by default I made it for English learners. So this is perfect because you can actually apply it to any languages and you can always keep using this over and over and over again. So what are some bad experiences learning French? Let's see. My bad experiences with learning French is the pronunciation. So number one, I definitely think its pronunciation is can be difficult, especially the R sound. Phonologically speaking, depending on the environment of the R, it can sound like you can have the harsh R sound, like that sound. It can be harsh, but it can also like just disappear. I don't know. It just depends on the word, and I'm trying to analyze that environment, and that's been on my mind for the longest time, but I've never had the time to explore it. But I kind of realized the R sound actually has two sounds in French, and it just depends on what the word is too. And what I noticed so far is that if the R sound is at the front, the R is a bit more harsher or more prominent, whatever the word is. So for example, red is rouge, so it'd be rouge, rouge. So you could say that sound. But if the R is in the middle, like maybe it's in the middle of the word, pronouncing the R is hard. So it can sound like a W at times, I think. So I'm trying to think of a word. Oh yeah, merci. So merci beaucoup. I think I'm overdoing the R sound, but I'm doing mech. But I think maybe they say merci beaucoup, or something like that. Well, mech is, yeah, I don't know. I just remember it was somewhere in the middle. I might be wrong. I apologize. My brain is acting up and I can't think straight. Because it is 4 in the morning. And eventually I might sleep, but who knows. We'll try to push through with this. So bad examples from learning is definitely the R sound for me. It's very intimidating. The R sound and the ooh sound. Because OE, ooh sound doesn't exist in English. I mean, we probably do have words that do pronounce it, but we don't notice. But yeah, that oh, monsieur, or something like that. That monsieur part is the one that's killing me. So OE from monsieur. That can I not spell? Yes, I can't spell because my brain is tired. Yeah. So it's from this element right here. The pronunciation of that. Monsieur. That sound or something. I probably am not pronouncing it correctly, but that's totally okay. So yeah. Pronouncing that is difficult for me, and I'm also gonna write my note here for R elements, or R environments. Pronunciation. Affected by phonological environments. Don't worry about that. This is something that I need to know. You don't have to know what it is, but just to explain briefly. I already mentioned it earlier, so to summarize, depending on where the R is produced or presented in the sentence or in the word, it'll affect the pronunciation. That's all there is to it about the R sound. What else intimidates me? Definitely speaking as a whole in French. Speaking in French can definitely feel intimidating because of the rhythm. There's a word for it. I wrote it down the other day and I'm gonna forget and I forgot about it right now. It's supposed to be features about speaking. So there's different things to look at when you're looking at speaking skills. I swear to God, I wrote it down in the past before. I'll probably find it if I open my Canva to go back a couple to one of my previous slides. but basically it's features of speech. I'm just gonna look it up. It's gonna bother me. Speech features. There's a word for it in linguistics. What did we call it? There's a word for it. It's gonna bother me. Nation. Yeah, but these are all speech features, but there's a specific word that we called it. Oh my gosh, what did we call it? Yeah, there it is. That's the word I'm looking for. Prosodic features. Lovely. So prosodic features basically means the features of speech. So if you say, what is a prosodic feature? It includes these. They're a combination of pronunciation, vocabulary, pitch, intonation, pace, loudness, and rhythm. So for the French pacing is that they have, I think there was a word that they call it, liaison. That's what they called it. Yes, liaison. So liaison basically means that in terms of pronunciation, it's like the word connects to another word, so it bleeds into it. And we'll talk more about it if you don't know French, and you'll see that in my studies. But if you already know French, you know what liaisons are. So liaisons are what kills me in French too, because of the liaisons. So speaking French can definitely feel intimidating because of the liaisons. I hope I know how to spell it. It looks like I did well. Yeah. So speaking French can definitely feel intimidating because of the liaisons and other prosodic features. Mostly relating to rhythm. I believe that's it. Pitch and intonation. Intonation and pitch were roughly the same with English, so it's not too difficult, but it's definitely the rhythm and the pacing. So rhythm and pacing. So that can feel definitely intimidating. And it sounds probably also, yeah. There's also intonation I would write down, but that's in general. Like, intonation is knowing where to stress on a particular part of the word. So, for example, there was one I picked up when I was watching Abroad in Japan, where Chris Broad would say wacky weekend. So he would always stress weekend, and that bothered me so much. I don't know why. I don't know if that's a British thing, but in American English we say week and what did you do on the weekend? So yeah, that's an example of intonation, is just knowing where to stress. And that just goes for every languages. Intonation will definitely come down with time, and yeah, but I think I'm okay with that because I understand all languages have that problem with intonation, but the rhythm and the pacing in particular for French is intimidating just because of their freaking liaisons. But yeah, enough about that. Was there any other bad experiences learning French? I don't recall feeling shame. I do remember an embarrassing situation where I spoke Spanish because I was half asleep in class, and when my teacher told me to speak in French, I replied in Spanish, and that was just funny. And I realized when I sat down, I was like, I didn't say that in French, did I? So yeah, I think that's mostly it. I don't remember a lot of things, but yeah, it's good to see that there's more good experiences than bad with French. So that tells me I had a much more positive experience learning it. Okay, so reflections and improvement. What are some reflections? Oh yeah, I should definitely invest. I shouldn't say that. Invest more time in learning French. To bring it to intermediate. I'm gonna push to high intermediate level before acquiring another language. Do I believe that I will reach high intermediate in the next few months? Might be possible if I'm doing the things that stimulate that language acquisition environment for myself. It could be possible, but who knows? I'm definitely testing myself as a linguist learner and also as a language fanatic. So I can't really call myself a polyglot because there's a specific definition for it. A polyglot is someone who can speak multiple languages, and it's usually beyond 5 languages where you could be considered a polyglot. It'd be nice to call myself a polyglot, but my language skills for all the languages I learned are quite bad, so they've all been reduced to elementary level. So we'll see if I can bring it back up somehow. So one day, I think my goal as well. I should actually write this in my goal in the future, but it's fine. That's fine. I can always write more. But yeah, at some point, I want to call myself a polyglot, an official polyglot. But who knows? So yes, I want to invest more time in learning French to bring it to high intermediate level before acquiring another language. Like I mentioned before, I will be learning a second language. If I feel like I did really well in my French, because I'm trying to do one at a time right now, but if I feel like I'm doing really well, I'll pick up another language that I need to refresh on. So I would say I invest more time learning French to bring it to high intermediate level. I'm gonna put high, just because the jump between low intermediate and high intermediate is quite significant. There's a huge jump. So hopefully I can challenge myself somewhere. If I feel like I'm in the middle of intermediate level, maybe I can add my other language, but we'll see. What is next? Spend more time listening to French music actively rather than it being background music. Yeah, because I love listening to songs, and if I hear it as like a background song, my brain goes into airplane mode. But if I'm actually starting to understand it, I tend to pay more attention to the lyrics, which is a problem if I'm studying for something. So for example, I like listening to Lofi in the background because there's no words, so I can focus more on what I want to say to you guys. But the moment I start hearing songs that have lyrics in there, I stop talking and I just want to listen to what they're singing in the background. And that's not good. And if I get to that point in French, it's both a good thing and a bad thing. So a good thing is that I've reached a fluency, which is a great milestone achievement. But at the same time, it's a huge negative drawback too, because that means I can't listen to French music anymore because I would want to pay attention to what they're saying, and that sucks. So, yeah. What else is there? Reflection improvements. What else is there? I think speaking in French. What could be improved? This is more of a reflection. What am I doing, Hana? Invest more time in it. Okay, what else could I improve? Get to at least commit to 15 minutes. French for 3 days. So 15 minutes being the bare minimum. Rule of thumb for language learning is you can learn up to 60 minutes. 90 minutes is like university level, because I typically, whenever I take a language course, 90 minutes is the rule. It's just a general time frame. Pushing to 2 hours could be a bit much, and then my brain starts to melt around that time too. So I know myself as a language learner, and 15 minutes is more than plenty if I'm really busy, and it's good for anyone too who's really busy. But yeah, making time for it. Just 15 minutes a day is more than plenty for learning any language aside from French. What else could I do? maybe in the future I can transcribe. So dictation activities. Incorporate dictation activities for language for when watching MLB, Miraculous Ladybug, not Major League Baseball. Sorry. So yeah, dictation activities. It's gonna suck because what I'm doing is I'm listening to the audio and then writing exactly verbatim of what I hear and think that they say, and then I go back and correct it, and then also check with if they have a subtitle to reference that and see how well I did. So dictation activities are a pain in the butt, but it really shows how well your listening skills are. So you're really pushing your listening skills and seeing how well your comprehension is. Yeah, that's about it. So yeah, incorporate dictation activities when watching MLB. Dictation and error correction. Watching MLB. Okay. I think a final thing that I want to improve on and want to incorporate would be like be able to talk to myself in French as I think aloud. So, or doing a think aloud activity. So I talk to myself a lot, just like how I'm talking to you guys technically. This is very stimulating for me to hear my own voice and see how my brain is processing what I want to say. And my biggest problem is I tend to stutter a lot, and I stutter in English too. So when I'm speaking in another language, it's even worse. And what I want to do is be able to think about what I want to say in French in the level that English is to me, where everything just kind of flows out. I just vomit everything out. So yeah, I think that by doing that, I feel comfortable, and I really think about what vocabulary words I need. So yeah, maybe I might even do an activity where I'm looking at specific jargon that's important to me. So whatever is relevant, I'll focus on that. Who knows? But yeah, those are some things there. I think, oh yeah, and I'm starting to remember a bad experience learning French. I did have a bad experience with Duolingo. Duolingo was very random when I learned French independently, and resulted with me being turned off and uninterested. I remember there was a time in Indonesia where I was studying Duolingo again, and one of the languages I decided to study was French and Spanish at the same time. And Duolingo just was so random for me. It was just so boring and I just couldn't do it. So yeah, apps will be things I will definitely investigate. I know Duolingo has undergone so many changes since the last time I used it, but we shall see. I'll probably do a review in the future and see if that's good for me. All right, so I made this other design too. So this is like a weekly language acquisition tracker. So a lot of the times, a lot of questions I receive from language learners and also from myself, reflecting on what they're asking from me, is how do I know that I'm improving it in the language that I'm learning? Well, you gotta track it somehow, right? So finding a way to write a journal or report or say what you want to say, or being able to record yourself when you speak, those are all perfect recording systems that could help you see how much you've improved as a learner. So I designed this again, and these are things that I've considered and used in the past, and hopefully in the future I might update this and make it 2 pages long. There might be more stuff to add, but as far as I know, these are all from my first-hand experiences as a language learner and also as a teacher that teaches how to learn a language. So yeah, I didn't see anyone make this in the past, so I created my own. So hopefully I claim this. It's mine. It is my original work. And also, I am selling these Canva templates through my Ko-fi. So if you go through my shop, you'll be able to find both of these. And of course, I'm selling it as a Canva link. So with that being said, you can mess around with the decoration with the stickers and change it to however you wish, or you can keep it as plain as possible if you're not a fan of the way that I designed it. Again, the reason why I designed it this way is because it's good for me. It stimulates my attention. For me dealing with my ADHD, it's more like if I don't see anything that holds my attention, I get sidetracked elsewhere. So, but if it's something that's why if it's a blank piece of paper and there's no design or things around it, I just look at somewhere else. But if it has a design on here, like for example, the background is a window that I use in my live streams, it keeps my attention on it, and I'm just like, oh, this is pretty. I get to admire the little bubbles in the background. That's just my brain thinking to me right now. So yeah, my attention is much more heightened with all of this craziness happening on paper, and that's where I thrive. So if it's not for you, that's okay. But yeah, again, I am selling this on my Ko-Fi account. If you guys want one, and please don't share the link to other people who didn't purchase it, because I'm a small business, and please support me. Yes. So anyways, what we're looking at here for language acquisition tracker, this should be treated as a weekly thing, and I will address that in when I sell it. It's just gonna say a weekly language acquisition tracker. The first thing we're looking at is the SMART goals. So these are goals that we have to accomplish in 1 week. So if I were to jump, the time bound would be 7 days. So 7 days maximum. And this should not be bolded. There we go. Specific, what subjects will you achieve or be studying? So we have to be very specific, because up here we wrote about long-term goals, right? So long-term goals means like it can be up to a year, 2 years, a month, etc. Whatever you consider as long-term goal, although month is not considered long-term goal. I don't know why I said that. But yeah, long-term goals would be like a year or up to 3-5 years, etc. And of course, once you've become a language learner, you are a language learner for life. So long-term goals means that you will achieve this over time. And what's important about language learning is that you should not be focusing on the outcome. You should be focusing on the progress, getting to there. So you have to make it into small steps as you climb the ladder of language fluency. So we have to be very specific, because you have 7 days or 1 week to just pull it off. For me personally, my specific, what specific subjects I'll be pulling off this week, basically the basic communications. So like introduction, introducing myself. So we're looking at just the basics, talking about what's my name, how old I am, where am I from, what's my favorite hobbies, when did I learn French, why did I learn French, etc. So those are things that I consider are introducing myself. Measurable. How do you know you've achieved it? So this is very important, because this is why we had to make it specific as possible, because we need to know how can you show that you learned it. So for me, how can I measure it? So I'm able to communicate. Or introduce myself. To introduce myself via writing and in speech. So I can write it down and also say it out loud. So that's how I know. There's also the fact that what did I want to say? So I'm able to introduce myself via writing and speech, and my pronunciation too. So again, I'm very, very particular, and I really want to be as close as possible to a native, because that's just personally for me. You don't have to do that. But that's just my perfectionism speaking, and I want to be as perfect as possible. So as a result, also pronunciation too. So I'm able to accurately introduce myself via writing speech, and speech. So I'm gonna say speech as the overall umbrella of speaking and also pronouncing. Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Attainable, is it achievable within the time bound? So looking at the time bound, can I master what I want to say? And I'm gonna say this informally for now. Inform. INF. So that means informal. Yeah, I can achieve in 7 days. Yes. Does it align with your long-term objectives and value? So again, we're gonna scroll up here. If you want to remember what is your long-term goal, does it align with it? And of course, you want to look at your purpose as well. Does it align with your values? And it should. Because if it doesn't align with your values, that's already a red flag for you, and you probably need to reevaluate what you're doing for your specific goal, your specific lesson and how you're measuring it. Because if you don't have a purpose for it, you kind of lose your reason as to why you're learning it at all. And that's why I created the language acquisition tracker and the language learner profile. I created them because it's important for learners to recognize their strengths and weaknesses when they're learning a language, and it will probably, most likely and hopefully, improve and boost their ability to acquire language. So my answer to my relevancy is yes. All right, motivation and purpose. So this is your weekly reminder. There will be times where you come across a language where you ask yourself, you question yourself, what's the whole reason why I'm doing this? Why am I doing this, you know? So this is different from motivation and purpose up here. So the purpose up here is more like a general view of the entire language, like why are you learning it at all? Here we're breaking it down to just the small thing, right? So just specifically relating to your specific goal. So my motivation and purpose to learn about the basic communications, and I don't know why I put basics. Good job, me. There you go. So basic purpose. Why am I learning the basic communication? I am able to introduce myself. That's the first thing. I can create small talk. This conversation can lead to conversations relating to interest. So most of the time whenever you introduce yourself, there's always a way for it to go off tangent and focus on a specific conversation or topic to talk about, you know? So that's important. So yeah, it's essential. You need to know it. So therefore, it is essential. Okay. Alright, so, today is 8/18 for me. So 8/18/23. What did I do today? I created my language learner profile and so LLP, language learner profile, and my language tracker. So language acquisition tracker, LAT. That's the first thing I did. And then I will do more things to this because technically when you create this, it's like the prelude before you actually do the work for learning the language. So I would consider making the LLP and LAT on day 0. So you know what to look at for references and inspiration. So when time gets tough for you, when you're learning the language, this is something you want to read and see how much you've improved. And of course, having a tracker where you can actually reference to what you learned, it really shows how much you've grown already. So I always tell my students it's important to have a reflection journal or be able to record what they learned, because when you see how much you've grown, it's actually super motivating to keep going. So again, here my task and activity is grammar. Actually, what do I want to do? my plan for today's stream, because I'm probably gonna go on for another hour or so, so maybe after I finish this, I'm gonna probably spend 30 minutes on an application. I will try Duolingo this time. I don't know what I'm gonna expect. I'm kind of nervous, but we shall see. So I'm gonna say level 1. Actually, let's do Duolingo. And then I'm gonna reference how much I'm gonna do here. So I'm gonna say 30 minutes. You don't have to mention the time, but I'm gonna just put it here as a reference. So Duolingo chapter 1, I guess. Or level 1. And I need to update that. So for now, we can delete that, copy paste that. Nice. So there's a check mark. I finished my LLP and LAT. And then what you want to do here is there's actually other sections where I wrote notes, milestone progress markers. So milestone progress markers are basically your measurable. So how can you show how much you've improved? Well, this is where you do it. So you can actually write, for example, this is what I'm going to do here. Writing, because that's what I wanted to prove. And then speaking. So speech. So speaking plus speaking confidently plus pronouncing accurately. So this one I'm probably gonna have a link for it. I will most likely upload it to YouTube, but it will be unlisted because it's more for my reference, and hopefully I could use it as a reference to inspire those who want to look at it, but I'm just gonna keep it hidden. I'll think about whether I want to make it public or not, we shall see. But for now, we'll see how that goes. But for the writing, we have our writing segment, and then the speech would be here. Okay, and this is how I know I'm able to show my ability to accurately introduce myself via writing and speech. And I will do that by the end of the week. So next Friday, I believe, I will be doing this with my live stream. You might see me like once, twice, 3 times. Who knows how many times I'll be streaming like randomly. But I will always update my language acquisition tracker, and that's something, if you guys are going to do this too, you should do this. And of course, put a date here. It's nice. It's a little journal that you can see how much you've improved. And the notes section is, I just left it as notes because everyone is different. You can change the text if you want. But for notes, it can be vocabulary, and then you can write about vocab words you want to work on or memorize. You can talk about things that worked out for you and what didn't. Oh, well, technically you should write it down here. These are the reflection pages. The reflection section. So yeah, notes could be focused on key vocabulary words that you didn't understand and then come back and review it within the same week. So I would focus on notes as things to work on, just as a reminder for yourself. And then reflection here. This is always important because you should reflect on what you learned. So you can ask yourself what worked for the week, what didn't work for you, and things I can improve on. So since now we're focusing on Duolingo as my first task, we're definitely gonna see if this works out for me or not. Yeah. We're gonna try out Duolingo, and let's see if it works or it doesn't, and things I can improve on. One thing I dislike about myself, in my honest opinion, in general, with every languages I learn, I write everything down. So even with Duolingo, that's everything on repeat. I try to write down everything that I learned so far, and you're gonna see how freaking anal I am when it comes to writing, because I like rereading my notes, and of course, the ability to write something kinesthetic learning is good for me. So yeah, we're gonna be doing all that today. Right. Okay, with that being said, let's get started. So we're gonna jump to here. and I trust that YouTube is working fine now. So I'm not anxious anymore. Everything looks well, but of course, never get ahead of yourself. I am gonna check on thing right now. 1 second. Okay. So everything looks good. Audio is working fine. And we're gonna go ahead and jump to seeing my screen. This is the first time I'm using this, so I'm really excited. Let's see, we're gonna hide. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna hide the main screen. And then we're gonna show my remarkable and my tablet. Ta-da! Isn't that awesome? So I have my little items right here. And of course you can see it from up there, the second camera. So you can actually see what I'm up to now. So this is great. So what I'm showing you so far is, let's see. There's actually an application I use that will help keep track of my progress in languages, or like how long I'm spending time on it, and I will use it because it is like we are doing a Pomodoro, and my goal is 30 minutes. If I go over, it's okay. If I feel too tired and stick with just 15 minutes, that's okay too, because I don't want to overstress myself. And today is still a tentative stream. So yeah, you get to see what I'm doing from this little angle as well. And I'm probably gonna eat a cookie while I'm working on this. So there's that. Oops, sorry. I accidentally closed it. So finish. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on languages and we're gonna start the time. And then now you can see my screen. This is my language apps. I have so many of them. We're gonna go for Duolingo. Duolingo will work. I believe this is Spanish. Yeah, I thought so. I have so many things. Okay, we're jumping to French. Since we are starting from scratch, I think we're just gonna start here. Yeah, you dropped down from Gold League. No thanks, I'm okay. And then what's lovely is you guys can actually see we've already spent 1 minute. Why is this in Spanish? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. The use of basic phrases. Alright. Is this not working? Ah. It wasn't working. Okay, now it works. Alright. So we're looking at French. And hopefully you can see what I'm doing up here. Okay. I'm probably gonna look away from the camera a lot, so don't mind me. Basic phrases. You might hear the background noise.
Lucia.
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 Lucia. I already know that's bad. Okay. Oh, I realized something. There you go. I was like, what's pulling this? And I realized it's a cord. Okay. This is unit 1 as far as I know. Wait a second. So use basic phrases. Now we can start.
Lucia.
Lucia. What I'm doing right now is I am providing Lucia. Okay. So this is IPA. This is what's gonna help me pronounce things accurately. So if I see it, I'm just gonna put this next to each other. There you go. Lucia. So if I know that, it's cat.
Le garçon.
Le garçon. Le... Yeah. Maybe it would make my life easier if I did it differently. Hold on. Let me and my organized mind do its thing. Okay. I guess this could work for me. Then I could do this. Things are finicky. Blue, so. Lucas. It's the man. I already know that. And then pronunciation.
Le garçon.
Yeah. Blue. Yeah. Yeah.
Le garçon.
Garçon. What is that O sound? Garçon. Oh. What is that O sound?
Le garçon.
Du garçon. How do I say that? The O sound. O. Is that the ooh sound? Maybe it is. I'll double check that. Where are both my pens though? Pen. Okay. Garçon. Okay. And then I'm gonna make a note for myself. How do you make the French R again? Oh yeah, it's the upside down R, I think. I'll double check that. French R. Garce. Le garçon. Le garçon.
Le garçon.
Okay. Le garçon. Oh, it's the boy. I thought it was the man. Good job, me. Okay.
Chat.
Chat. Le chat.
Chat.
Oh, sorry, my finger. It's supposed to be on.
L'homme.
L'homme. I suppose that's the man.
L'homme.
L'homme. Okay. L'homme. Let me see. Le garçon. L'homme. Garçon. What is that O sound? So this is definite l'homme. L'homme.
L'homme. L'homme.
L'homme. I think that is the sound. So garçon. Le garçon. Le garçon. Le garçon. Le garçon versus l'homme. Okay, so the homme is definitely this, I believe. Earth. They might be the same. Oh, garçon. L'homme. L'homme.
L'homme.
L'homme. It has an O sound, like umbrella. L'homme. Maybe a schwa. Sofa. L'homme. Sofa. It's a different sound. It's just hard for me. I think the closest would be pronouncing as the I think schwa was a stress. Yeah, I thought so. I think it's l'homme. L'homme.
L'homme.
L'homme.
L'homme.
That's the closest I can think of. And just so you guys know, when I'm writing IPA, it's not exactly perfect because I'm reaching out with the American English. Well, I should definitely look back and refer to. Let me see here. I'm gonna show you guys very briefly and switch back to from the vertical the French IPA. We're looking at French IPA chart. I'm trying to find the sound that they're making. English. Let's see. Schwa. Monsieur. It's definitely Monsieur. Soer. Oh, okay. Soer. Something I know. Jun. Jun. Or June. Club or club? Need to know. So you can see English approximation just means what's the closest pronunciation to that. Cool. Shoot. So l'homme and garçon is it might be the O sound. They say courses, course, and to, and to. Oh. So, I believe. Yeah, I thought so. The representation of this would be garçon would be just the O. Okay. Sons. Roughly like hang, nasalized ah. Eh. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I see it. Yeah. This is the O. Yeah, I thought so. This is the one that's throwing me off. I knew it. I was like, it cannot be the O. Because in the representation for IPA is that the O is a hard O, like story. That's the pronunciation. But when you're saying the O like this, it's like son, nom, mi nombre, and garçon is there, and also l'homme is not there. So this is the O I need to represent. So, lovely, right? Isn't it fun being a linguist, knowing to be accurate, not knowing, having to be accurate in pronunciation as a pet peeve? It's lovely. So, let's jump back. Okay, so we figured out what we needed to find here. So le garçon is the open O with a squiggly line. Fun. L'homme. Okay. So l'homme is different. L'homme. L'homme is. Okay, cool. How do you say man? Man is Yeah. Oh, I put on as is or one. Right? Un garçon. Okay. It's gonna be a man. Oh, a garçon. Garçon is boy. Why did they use a man? I'm already criticizing this app. Why? Why are you doing this? Okay, so we have un garçon. It's a boy. Lovely. And he's still dancing. Un garçon. Eh? Just...
Un garçon.
Eh.
Un garçon.
Why is it an eh sound? Un garçon. Un garçon.
Un garçon. Un garçon. Un garçon.
They changed it. What the hell? Un garçon. It might even be changed to a fairy fete. Because I know this word. I'm actually gonna look it up. I'm gonna double check. Thought so.
Faire la fête.
Fête.
Faire la fête.
Faire la fête.
Faire la fête.
It has an eh sound. Okay. So it also sounds like en garçon. I want to go back and listen to now. Is it huh? Or is it eh? Freaking fête. Is that it? The signal? That's what I'm thinking. It doesn't even show. Interesting.
Ansha.
Interesting.
Ansha. Ansha.
Now it went back to okay. I'm gonna say pronunciation then. We're gonna have a section here for pronunciation. So it looks like it depends. So when you say boy, you pronounced that. And but when you say unsha, then it becomes un again. Or not un, unsha.
Ansha.
Unsha.
Ansha. Ansha. Sha.
Thinking you would hear the N.
Sha.
Oh, sha.
Ansha.
Unsha. Interesting. Unsha. Now I'm curious.
Sœur. Sœur.
Sir. That's not the sound I'm looking at.
Ansha.
Unsha. Ah, okay, now I know. Ah, damn it. English, or sorry, linguistics. There we go. That's why. Ugh, I forgot. Ugh, in American English, here's the thing. We never distinguish between this letter and this letter. We never distinguish these two. Well, specifically in Californian English, we don't make a difference between them. So it's kind of perceived as interchangeable. But there is a rule. This E that's upside down is called a schwa. Schwas can only be used if the vowel is stressed. So for example, sofa. So if I were to write sofa, it would be represented as S-O-F-A. Because the schwa is stressed. That's where the intonation is taking place. So you don't say this. If you say this, it tells me sofa. Wait, sofa. Or is it? Sofa. It's also stressed. Sofa. 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 Something like that. Sofa. So it feels like it's cut off, right? And it sounds awkward. So perfect pronunciation would probably be my name for that. So if you say my name, and we're gonna go with my Filipino accented name, it's pronounced ha na. So, sorry, that's not how you do it. IPA. Ha na. That's it. So Hana is how you pronounce my name. Hana. So sofa. And there's actually a distinction too. I kind of hear when you're doing that triangle, there's a higher elevation and pitch too. Hana. Sofa. Hana. Sofa. So yeah, there's like a climb and a fall in pronunciation. That's how I can tell them apart. But yeah, there's also the rule of stress and non-stressed. So yeah. So now for me, when you pronounce a word unsha, it's because un is not stressed and sha is stressed. So yeah.
Sha.
Unsha. Asha. Of course. Somebody's hungry for knowledge. Yeah, of course. Of course you're gonna throw an and, right? I'm gonna change this. So just in case. The lovely thing about this application, when you say eh. So this one, if we're gonna follow the French rules, it's gonna be represented as an eh. Okay. So this is gonna be and. The pronunciation is eh. Go. Nome onsha. Yeah, you can see why I'm dying. Nome nasha. Nome nasha. Okay. So, nomen non sha. Don't you hate prosodic features? Nomen non sha. Oh no. Oh no. I hear no. I hear that. I hear the garçon always influence here. Nom. Enom enomsha. So yeah. Enom enomsha. Lele. Enom enomsha. Enom enomsha. And nomen noun siya. Nomen noun siya. So it's a man. Sorry. Yeah, a man. And you can now see why it's gonna take me a while to do this, and I'm just focusing on one at a time. Lovely, right? But this is my preference of learning. So now it's matching. So we have un and boy is
garçon, chat, homme,
How do you say and? So from this point on, since I've had all the vocabulary and pronunciation, that's it for my notes, and everything's just matching. So this is cat is where's cat?
Chat.
Man is
homme,
et garçon.
Garçon.
So un. I think it's un
Chat.
un chat et un garçon. I think. Why is it homme though? A cat? Like a cat and a why?
Chat.
You can say cat too. What the heck? Did I do the spelling wrong? There was no reference either, so I don't understand. So, un garçon, there's... So, let me see if I pronounce it correctly. Garçon. So, N. Why did I put the N here? A garçon.
Garçon. Garçon.
Garçon. Un garçon.
Garçon.
Un garçon et un chat.
Chat.
Yeah.
Le garçon.
Le garçon. Garçon is the boy. That's the one I made a mistake earlier. There was no picture. So how can I know it was om? That's so dumb. That's me right now, guys. That's totally me. I'm gonna take a screenshot. This is hilarious. This is a perfect picture of myself. I'm gonna take a screenshot. This is hilarious. Cool. And save. Nice. Alright. Don't we hate this? Alright, so that's 30 minutes of the lesson here. It took me exactly 30 minutes to get through this because, as you can see, this is my style of how I study languages. I get very, very persistent of how well I can pronounce this. And then, yeah. I want to review what I learned. So we have le chat, le garçon. And it can be or depending on the element or what it's next to, apparently. So that's my notes right here. I'm gonna highlight that while the commercial's still ongoing. And then away, so it's un or it just depends. So we have the man, lum, and it's not lum, it's lum, pronunciation, in garçon, cat, unsha. Then the last one, anomenonsha. 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 Yeah. That's about it. So we accomplished one daily quest. Continue. Should I attempt for one more? I feel like I can. Can I open another chest? I'm curious. Oh, I have to do a stupid thing. No thanks. This video. I don't care. So continue. My commit to learn French. 14 days streak, 30 days streak incredible, 50 day unstoppable. Yeah. Will I try to learn? Few times ready to more complete the course. Sure, let's do 50 day streak, why not? So we have another part of this. So basically I have to update this and just say Unit 1.1. We have now Unit 1.2 of 5. Again, we're coming back to vocabulary. I bet Lofi, I think it's the girl. Ah, shit. So, again, we're gonna start from vocabulary. We have La Fille. I believe his pronunciation La Fille.
La fille.
La Fille. Okay. So this is the girl.
La fille.
La Fille. Wait, La Fille?
La fille.
La Fille. It sounds like... Oh. Also, I realized I've been using the wrong A's. Damn it. Now I have to double check this in French. Hat. What's another pronunciation for that? Glass?
Gla. Gla.
La. And
Pat. Pat.
pot.
Pat.
Interesting.
Pategla. Pategla. Pategla.
That's so weird. They have, it's just this huge jump between these two sounds. It's pat with two. Pat.
Pat. Pat.
Pat. Still the same. La.
La fille.
La fille. So their A's. Sans. Chong. Let me see.
Chon.
Chong. Let me see. Sons.
Son.
Oh, they have the oh sound. That's not the one I'm looking at. Oh, shite. Their A's pronunciation. Pot? Pot? Lo? La? I'm gonna say femme.
Femme. Femme.
Femme. Say la.
La.
La? Sounds really close to the sound. But yeah, I'm probably gonna be mixing a lot in terms of what I'm hearing. I'm probably gonna be extending my English American more than the actual French. So in the future, I will definitely fix that. The more my ears attune to the differentiation between French accent and English accent, I'll probably be able to distinguish the two IPAs. Or well, the respective and accurate IPA system, but yeah, it's a doozy. It's such a doozy for me. I'm just being familiar with them. They don't have the... They do have a schwa. It looks like they don't have the turned V, which is what I wrote, but it's okay.
La fille.
La fille. I'm just gonna reference it for now. This isn't gonna bother me in the future, but it's fine. It's fine, Hannah. It's fine. La fille.
La fille.
Yeah. Girl, fille.
Fille. Fille.
Do you actually say the L? Fille?
Fille.
No, she doesn't say it. But it is stressed, so fille.
La femme.
La femme. La femme is the woman.
La femme.
La femme.
Je.
Je. That's where we got the word genre from. So in English, when you say genre for like the theme or genre, like the theme of the story, like an adventure, romance, whatever, that originated from French. So yeah, a lot of our English words stole from French. So je is there. Je is I. And this is using genre. Which one was it again? Oh yeah, je. Genre is this. Je. Je.
Je. Je.
Yeah, je. Je. It's the... What's that sound? Je.
Je.
Je. It's that. Oops. There. Je. Je. I believe that's the sound. Let me double check it.
Sœur. Sœur. Sœur.
Yeah, I thought so. So we're not... It's a unique French sound that they have, like... like sister. So, is that OE. So, je. Je.
Je.
Je. Je. Kind of the sound. Oh, I see. That's why they have the OE. Je.
Une.
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 Sounds like in. I know what this is. Un is a, feminine. And then un from earlier was masculine. I should look at that. Okay.
Une.
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 Have any other? Oh, that's all. What is that?
Une.
Okay, we're gonna look at that.
Sur. Sur.
Une.
Yeah.
Tu.
Two.
Une.
It's an over-exaggerated E versus two and coup.
Tu es coup. Tu es coup. Tu es coup. Tu es coup.
Two et coup.
Tu es coup.
Two et coup.
Une.
It's closer to the two. They pronounce it as the Y though? Like, why? This is gonna bother me. Hold on. French. I agree. I want an actual chart. Oh, I'm so sleepy. Semi bounce.
Lui. Lui. Étude. Étude. Étude.
Yeah. But I have the Y. We don't really use. Yeah, that's why I thought it was weird. My brain is just fighting me. Etude. Un. I'm gonna put that little. Pronounced as. Ooh. Oh, sorry. Un. There you go. So it sounds like the letter oo sound in American English, like two. I want that too, but they have a particular pronunciation, so un. Un.
Une.
Impressive. How do you say woman? I bet, yeah. This,
Femme. Une femme.
Une femme. What the heck?
Une femme. Une femme. Une femme.
Ah, okay, never mind. I'm just being stupid. Yeah, let's Une femme. I'm trying to be more faithful. Yeah, just be faithful. Une femme.
Une femme.
Ah. Une femme.
Je suis Paul. Je suis Paul.
Je suis.
Je suis Paul. Je suis Paul.
It's very fast of the je part. Sounds like je suis Paul.
Je suis Paul.
You can kind of hear it. Je suis Paul. Je suis. Suis.
Je suis Paul.
Yeah, they're using that instead of Paul, Paul. Just using the extension. Je suis Paul.
Je suis Paul.
Paul. Je. Oh. Yeah. Je suis Paul. There we go. I am. Yep. I learned 10 words today. Tap the matching. So I'm gonna try pronouncing this. So I is je.
Je.
With boy is garçon.
Garçon.
Garçon. Garçon. Garçon. Woman is femme.
Femme.
And man is homme.
Femme.
Une fille.
Une fille. Pronunciation. Une fille. Une fille. Learning the language. Next, 10 in a row.
Je suis une femme.
Je suis une femme. Heard all of that. Je suis une femme. Said, I am a woman, sorry. I keep mixing them up. I am a woman. Okay. Je suis une femme.
Je suis une femme. Je suis une femme. Je suis une femme.
Ah, je suis une femme. I see it now. Here, Je suis. Actually, let me not do the liaison. I get it already. It's already happening. Je suis une femme. Je suis une femme. Yeah. Je suis une femme. There you go. Got it. Je suis une femme. Nice. Do it. I am a boy. Je suis. Je suis. Je suis un garçon. So far, the word that I'm having the most difficult time pronouncing is garçon. Every time I see it, it's like I hesitate. Je suis un garçon. Je suis un garçon.
Garçon.
Garçon. Garçon. Write down in my notes. And you can see briefly notes. Oops. First thing I want to say for my notes is the pronunciation of garçon. Garçon. Pronunciation. Garçon. It's the intonation. So garçon.
Garçon.
Garçon. Like goes up. Garçon. This is just a representation for myself. It is not IPA or anything. I'm just telling myself, garçon. Je suis un garçon.
Garçon.
Garçon. Je suis un garçon. Where's the...
Garçon. Garçon.
Stress is in the front. That's what I feel. So that's supposed to be right there. Garçon. Garçon.
Garçon.
Yeah.
Garçon. Garçon.
I kind of hear the N, but it sounds muffled. Je suis un garçon. So, je suis un garçon. So, je suis un garçon. Oh. Let's see. Referencing. New. This one. This one. Besoin. Lofa. I hear it kind of nasally. Je suis un garçon. Je suis un garçon. Je suis un garçon. Garçon. I really hate the garçon. I'm starting to say Gaston in my head. Je suis un garçon. 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 Je suis un garçon. Je suis un garçon. Garçon. Ah. Moi. Ah. Garçon. Moi. Hein. Moi. It might be that A, though. I'll write the reference for myself. Is there another A in French?
Exemple.
Exemple. Seulement.
Seulement.
Seulement. What is it? Seulement. En. Versus moi.
Moi. Moi.
Moi. So they have moi versus exemple. Moi. En. Moi. En. It sounds like it's a bit more rounding. En.
Ensuite.
En. Moi. Yeah. It's different. Garçon.
Garçon.
Garçon. Oh, sweet. It sounds more rounding. Exemple. Seulement. It's more. Yeah, it's more A. Let's see.
Ainsi.
Ainsi.
Principe.
Principe. Principe.
Principe.
Principe. Ah.
Loin.
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 Principe.
I can hear the difference here because when I hear seulement, it's more of the rounding of the O, of like ah. Ah. Seulement. If I compare it to loin, with loin.
Loin.
Loin. Like loin.
Loin.
Loin. In English we say loin. Loin. Loin is garçon. Might be the closest.
Moi.
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 Moi versus... I have to like compare them. So... Moi. And then... Et... Loin.
Moi et loin. Moi et loin. Moi et loin. Moi et loin.
Moi. Moi.
Moi loin. Moi loin.
Moi là.
Moi loin.
Moi loin. Moi. Loin. Moi. Loin. I can't hear a difference between these two.
Loin.
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 Ensuite.
Ainsi.
Ansi.
Ainsi.
Ansi. Interesting.
Ainsi.
Ansi.
Principe.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I see it now. I see it now. Okay, so here are my notes. Let me change my screen for you. Hide this, show these two, and show. Okay. So I mentioned that we have, like, my name, Hannah, right? So this is the sound. So the closest to an American English is the French with the squiggle here. So the pronunciation's loin. Loin. I can hear it when you say Ansi. Ansi.
Ainsi.
Ansi. So anytime I use the it's gonna be that.
Principe.
Pasi. And now if I compare that to the here.
Année.
Ah,
Année.
it sounds more middle. Travail.
Travail. Travail.
Uh,
Travail.
Cause like this is what I hear from it. Travail. And I'm sorry if my music is too loud for it. Travail. So when you say the S sound, ansi. Ah, it sounds like more high. Is it more high? Ansi. And then I hear the like somewhere in the middle. It's like middle. And then of course the last one that I listed here is this sound here. And sorry if you can't see the chart, I'm writing it down here. Ensui. Exemple. This is more rounding. Round back, it sounds. Exemple. So it's in the back. Exemple. Yeah, the A is more towards the back. So this is more of the nearness, like where is the A presented? Is it towards the front or the back of the mouth? So what I hear is that this ah sound, exemple, it's more towards the back of the throat. So that's why it's not gonna work for the times I said and then it makes this one asi. Let me see. Asi. And I can't hear the guy at all. Asi. If I asi. Okay, we have asi. It's more front, so not high, but front. Asi. And then we have the travail. This is the best one. Travail. It's like in the middle. Moi. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So I have to ask myself every time. So I need to fix this. So this sound is equivalent to the ones below. So the first one is more front, like, what do I say? Shit, I need to really reference this. The front one is like asi. Yep. Then we have the middle one, which I'm gonna grab here, is gonna say travail. Travail. So let's go with the references. Vai. And then the back would be pronounced Zomp. Zomp. Yeah, it's being influenced by the G. Zomp. Zomp. And this would be, to be more specific, the L is actually dark L. I'm gonna write that reference to myself. Zomp. Oops. There we go. Zomp. So, asi, travail, and then zomp. So I can hear the difference now. And this is why it takes me such a long time to practice. So now we are at 60 minutes, 67 minutes now. This is why it takes so long for me, because I have so many notes. Because I analyzed them a lot. Okie dokie. But this is my way of learning. You guys don't have to copy it. This is just me being super anal about pronunciation. So now, to adjust my ear with these three, I have to go back and revisit them. So, un garçon, but I'm too tired to do that today. So, I'm gonna say un garçon. Un
Garçon.
garçon. So this feels more front. So the front would be the S, the EU sound, the EU representation. Un garçon. Un garçon.
Garçon. Garçon.
And I hear a very subtle R sound. Garçon.
Garçon.
Garçon. I can hear the difference now. I believe if I were to pronounce the it's probably travail. So that's the middle. So it's this. Garçon. That's what I'm looking at. Oh shit. I'm getting it. Still, it's not perfect, but I'm here. See, I said le garçon earlier, so now I'm gonna fix that. So yeah, we're gonna go back and fix that, and I'm gonna write that in my notes for my thing here. So my task or to-do list, fix R sounds. So revisit notes and make IPA accurate. Okay. So I'll do that maybe on... You guys probably can't see what I'm doing. Let me change that for you in a second so you can see what I'm doing. Oops. That's not what I want. Oh, there we go. So you can see here on 8/19/23, maybe on Saturday if I have time, I'll revisit the notes and make IPA accurate. So that's my priority for that. And I don't know if I'll do it for tomorrow or the day after. We shall see. But I have all week. And no pressure. So Duolingo, instead of 30, we went to 60. So we'll see. It's not level per unit. Unit 1.1 and 1.2. So there you go. That's how you know. Unit 1.1 and 1.2. Who's speaking? Oh yeah, I'm just gonna say 60 minutes because I know my style. That's what I did. Okay, dokie. Now I'm gonna go switch back to this. Okay. So, what are we looking at here? We have je suis un garçon.
Garçon.
Garçon. Je suis un garçon. Hey, I did it! Je suis un garçon. But I'm not a boy. Je suis un garçon. Nice. I am a cat. So we know this one. Je suis... And cat, let me see. Je suis un chat. Je suis un chat.
Chat.
Je suis un chat. Perfect. Yay. My tired brain. Nice, right? 15 for EXP, committed 38 minutes for this freaking session. And 100%. But yeah, you can see why my time is so slow is because I am over the top for this. So now, allow me to review everything I've learned so far. So we're gonna start from the very top. So we have le chat, le garçon, un or depending on what's before or after it. Just try for yeah. Unlimited hearts, personalized practice, for your knowledge. No learn with interruptions. I don't think I don't have the money for it right now. Cool. Nice. Welcome to this week's leaderboard. Yeah, we shall see. Yeah. I like the challenge myself. ABC, reading lessons for kids. No, thank you. Okay. So again, le chat, le garçon, un or un. Then we have l'homme. I just realized I think my thing froze. Hold on a second. There we go. I'm looking at. Okay, here we're back. So, l'homme. We have we have un garçon. And then we have un chat. We have un homme et un chat. So again, un homme et un chat. I can't even say it right. Un homme et un chat. Un homme et un chat. It's this specific rhythm for me. And then I'm gonna write it down in my notes here. So again, on my notes, I'm gonna write un homme et un chat. So this one would be more like rhythm. So these are all prosodical features. Prosody. Fun. Un homme et un chat. Un homme et un chat. I still need more practice on that, but it's getting slowly better over time, so that's good. Un homme et un chat. And then next I have Unit 1.2, Lofi, la femme, je. Then we have, scrolling down, we have je. Sorry, my brain is tired. Un. Then we have une femme. Je suis un pan. Je suis no. Je suis Paul. I'm saying the American version. Paul. C'est Paul. Je suis Paul. I don't think I'm saying it right. Paul. Je suis Paul. Paul. I don't know. Je suis Paul. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I don't have the French accent for pronouncing name, so I apologize. I have une fille. Je suis une femme. And je suis a shit. Travail. Je suis un garçon. Je suis un garçon. Je suis un garçon. And then like no, this is so frustrating. Assis. Assis? Assis. 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 So just think of assis. Assis. So for travail. Je suis un garçon. I think. The pronunciation is hell. You guys know the pain now. Okay. Well, I think that's about time for me. I'm tired. It's been a good 3-hour run for today's stream. Yeah. So it's been, according to this, 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 45 seconds. We have finished. And then quantity is that we accomplished 2 things. Well, technically, I would say 4 because 2 lessons, but also 2 pronunciations, so I'm gonna say 4. That's double the work. And that's 4. So they give you other options here. I actually really like this app, so this is called Flip, and I'll go over this in the future video if you guys are interested. But yeah, it shows you I spent 43%, 43.8 working on planner setup. So planning would be anything like preparing for the lesson, before I got to the group and whatever. And then I spent over an hour just working on the studies for today. So based on this, my ranking is 41. My score is 8401, live 1335, all 118. So I'm in the top 34.7%. There was a time where I actually got the top 1%, so I was number 1 because I studied for 18 hours, and that was when COVID happened, and I just sat on my chair, was in a call with friends, and then just worked for almost 24 hours, and yeah, that's about it. Okay, well, I hope today has been such a fun session for everyone. I'm also going to be referencing this for today's session for me, just to remember this in my notes. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's language acquisition study with me time with French. If this is your first time learning French, I hope you're having fun with me or having a hard time and struggling with me. You're seeing things from the perspective of my perfectionism and also being a linguist. I'm very, very particular when it comes to pronunciation, and I try my best to be as accurate as possible. So yeah, of course, it's awkward. It's not gonna be perfect. Maybe I spend more time than the average person, and that's okay. But yeah, but this is my way, and this is how it works for me. It doesn't have to work for you, and that's perfectly okay. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. I'm done with today's stream. I'm gonna turn off, stop sharing. We're done. And without further ado, thank you so much for joining me in today's stream. I hope I updated my goodbye or end stream, because I don't remember if I did. Uh-oh, where did it go? I don't know if I updated it, but hopefully, let me see first. Let me check it out. Hopefully I updated it. I don't remember. Gosh, I don't remember. Let me double check it. Is this the right one? That's the question of the day. Yeah, I did. Haha. Okay, this is awesome. I did update it, so that's wonderful. Yeah. So you're gonna see when I end my stream, I will be streaming consistently every Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m. PST for teaching English on my regular schedule for up to 90 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes. I will have spontaneous streams to practice my language, and I'll also make an alarm for myself, so hopefully that works out. And in the future, if you guys have any questions about language acquisition or the process that I do things, or maybe my PDFs in the future, I'll happily address that in another video or stream. And of course, if you enjoyed my content, I hope you consider supporting me by subscribing to this channel, joining my Discord, which is all in the description below, and if you guys are interested in getting the PDF forms that I created from Canva, it's available in my Ko-fi, or Ko-fi, whatever you call it, website. So just go to the shop and it'll be there. The language acquisition tracker is still in development. I mean, I should be able to post it maybe sometime later today after I get some sleep first. And it'll be available, I believe I only charge $5 for the PDFs, and you get them as a Canva file, so you can manipulate the file to however you please. Yeah, that's about it. I hope this was helpful, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the future. Take care. Bye, good night. It's 6:10 a.m. for me, so good night, good morning, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you next time.